Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, yesterday was our big monthly meeting, and so that means that today I'm pretty wore out. Just standing on my feet. We got there at 9 o'clock in the morning and we left about 9 o'clock yesterday evening. And I don't think I sat down, nor did my wife sit down the entire time. So usually the Monday after the meeting, it's barely moving around here. But it was a really great meeting, and it just, I would say, almost record turnout. I actually didn't do a head count yesterday, just was so busy, but just from the looks of it, we were right at our what we would normally consider our maximum amount, maybe even more, so probably 300, maybe a little bit more. A lot of kids, a lot of families, a lot of new faces, a lot of the friends that we've made along the way that's been coming up to these meetings regularly. It was a really great experience. Tons of food was brought in, more than, I think this time probably was the most food we've ever seen brought in. You know, my wife and I, we usually go shopping and buy a bunch of stuff, and she makes things, and then other people bring stuff in, I mean, if you left hungry yesterday, it was your own fault. I mean, there was no excuse for it, because it was better than Golden Corral kind of stuff. And then we had people that come to the meeting, and they set up little tables, you know, talking about maybe their personal business and stuff that they are doing, their, you know, maybe their own, something they're selling or making. And that's something that we're trying to do with this, is allow business owners, people within the group that make things, and to promote that, because we should be supporting each other also with our money. I mean, I would rather be buying stuff from someone within our group than going to some big box store. So that's something also that we're doing. We got a lot of stuff done, and what we're trying to do is not just have this meeting as just a meeting where people come and they hear some speaker about a particular thing, but also put action to it. And that's something that we've been doing. Got reports yesterday of smaller mag groups that's being formed out of this meeting, that of the people that come there. So that was really exciting. Talked to a few people that kind of all live in the same area, and they're wanting to start the same thing. So there's more of that being done, and that's exciting. I did want to mention, for any of you that live in the Jefferson City area, Jefferson City, Missouri, which that's the state capital of Missouri, there is a prepper meeting going on there every month. And one of the guys that kind of runs that came to our meeting, and they're meeting this next month in February on the 18th, and this is the guy's email right here. So if you live in the Jefferson City area and you would like to attend their meeting, email him. He can get with you on the specifics of it, but he's a really good guy. Got to know him yesterday, so I have no doubt that they put on a pretty good meeting there also in the state capital of Missouri. So a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. I wanted to give a little advisory for you folks in the Midwest. If you haven't been following it, there is a prediction of some pretty significant snow and weather coming up this week. This is a chance for all you prepper homesteaders to put your skills to the test, at least possibly with some of you. I was looking this morning, there's a prediction throughout here in Missouri, down into Oklahoma, even Texas, up into Illinois. Some areas receiving 15, 18, 24 inches in some areas. Here where we are at, we're right on this line. I looked at a couple of different maps, and both of them show us right on this line between 15 inches and 8 inches of snow. So we'll see what we get, but that's pretty significant. You know, the Missouri Ozarks and, you know, southern Missouri, yes, we get snow occasionally, and sometimes we get several inches of snow. But if we get 12, 15, 18 inches of snow, that's going to shut down a lot of places. So folks, be ready for that. Take these next 2 days leading up to that and get prepped up, because if you're in an area that receives 18 inches of snow here in the Ozarks or down in, you know, Oklahoma, places like that, they're even talking about that much snow in certain places in Texas. where you're at's going to get shut down. I mean, there's not going to be much open and much moving around for a few days until that starts to melt off. So get prepared for that. There could be power outages because they're calling for ice to come in first. I think in my area, they're predicting 3/10 of an inch of ice, and then the snow happens. So we could see power outages, and those could last for several days. So folks, get ready for that. Along with getting ready for that, more on this convoy, this trucker convoy. And I'm not going to go into the specifics of the convoy because you're probably all aware of what's going on. It's really hard to come up with some numbers. The news media, I've not seen anyone in the media say anything higher in numbers of about 10,000. Most of them, they're saying a few hundred to a few thousand. The official organization, even though that's not really the right term because it doesn't seem to be a real organization, is saying 50,000. There's posts now, and there was actually a video I watched this morning of interviewing a trucker in Ottawa, Canada, and he said that their estimates is that there's over 100,000 people involved in this, truckers in and around that whole area. And there was actually someone at our meeting yesterday that's from Canada, has family in that area, and was showing us pictures and videos that these aren't things that's been pulled off of the internet. This is stuff from their family showing that. And their reports is that there is a significant amount of people in and around that area. Now, there's also reports of the attempt to do the same kind of thing here in the United States. There's already reports that a lot of truckers are already doing it, and they're going to try to work their way to D.C. Now, aside from all of that, at least the details of it, what does that mean for you in the immediate? Means you need to get kind of prepped up. If, in fact, there are 100,000 truckers in Canada involved in this, that's about a third of all their truck drivers. They don't have nearly as many as we do here in the United States, but that's significant. There's a lot of stuff that gets imported from Canada down here in the United States. Cars, car parts, things like wheat and soybean and beans, beef. A lot of beef comes from Canada. You need to start getting ready for this. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that, oh, this is horrible, it could shut down the whole supply chain. I'm saying that you need to get ready for that. If this continues on, and this continues on in the way that it's going right now, it's not going to take very long to start feeling the repercussions of this. There's even certain media outlets starting to kind of mention that. And of course, I believe they're going to set up a narrative that when the supply chain starts to really collapse, they'll have a scapegoat that they can throw blame to. See, it's all of these ultra patriotic, extreme, truckers that caused it. But the point is that you and I need to be ready for it. You should already kind of be ready for it, but it doesn't hurt to kind of reassess yourself and over the next days and weeks, get ready for it. A lot of stuff moves on trucks. We've talked about this before. I mean, it is literally the veins of the nation, in the same way with Canada. It's not going to take very long. This isn't something that's going to take weeks. If you heard a factory or a port shut down in China, it may take weeks for that to be felt here in the United States. If the truckers go on strike and they do this convoy here in the U.S., as they're already doing in Canada, it's going to be felt within a few days. Some of these towns, small towns, within just 2 to 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, they're going to start feeling it, and they're going to start feeling it hard. So you need to get ready for this. Stock up on the things that you would think you'd need. Animal food, especially if you have livestock, grains, bags of feed is something that kind of comes to mind. A lot of car parts, like I said, a lot of car parts comes in through Canada, and some of that's still going to come in on rail, but it's certainly going to be slowed down because of this. So make sure that if you are planning on fixing your car, or replacing anything, or doing any kind of maintenance or tune-ups, that you have the parts and stuff available right now. Try to think ahead of that, and then just continue to get yourselves ready, because if this happens and if this continues on, it could very easily cause a complete collapse of our supply chain. We could see some massive slowdowns, some massive shortages, because everything moves by truck. I mean, there's hardly a thing in your life, a food, a product, an item in your life that at some point wasn't on a truck somewhere. And when you start talking about large percentages, even 10% is a large percentage here in the United States. If 10% of the American truckers stopped, 15%, 20%, that's pretty significant. In a system that's already strained because of everything that's going on, we could start seeing some serious shortages around. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's a bad thing in the immediate, certainly. But if it starts to get enough attention, it's not always a bad thing. But don't be surprised that this doesn't get spun around by the media and the people that think that they're in charge as something like a January 6th. I think that's why we have seen the Prime Minister of Canada run into hiding, so that they can spin the narrative that he had to do that because of, safety to his life. So there's a lot of things going on here right now with that, and it's dominating the news right now. That also worries me a little bit. When something is dominating the news so much, it always makes me wonder, what is it that's going on behind the scenes that's not getting told. Either way, continue to get ready for this week. For those of you here in the Midwest, looks like one way or the other, we're probably going to get some pretty significant weather. And you never know when's the last time you're going to be able to get the things that you want at the store with all this stuff going on with the truckers. And you know what? I'm behind you guys, 100%. You're making us proud. You Canadian truckers have made us proud, and you American truckers are making us and will continue to make us proud. So keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you really are the lifeblood of this country, and most people just don't realize it. You're very underappreciated, for certain. All right, folks, a lot of stuff going on here in the Ozarks, so you'll be hearing about it soon. We did some planning and some pretty cool stuff that we're going to be announcing, and it won't just affect here locally, it'll affect a lot of you. So keep tuned with some of the stuff and the goings on that we are doing here on a local level, because I think you're going to be pretty excited. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.